How lucky are we to work in this ever-evolving, beautiful, and creative industry, to give the gift of touch and have the ability to change somebody's life? Welcome to Pivot and Pause, a podcast for beauty industry leaders. I'm your host, Asia Kaur. I'm a salon development coach with goals of assisting you to become more knowledgeable and profitable within your salon or spa space. So let's get started.
Hello, guys, and welcome back. Anna has a specific niche of studying and understanding the ingredients inside of a bottle. She wrote an ebook called Translating the Label, where she dives into all of the marketing mumbo jumbo of parabens, sulfates, pH levels, and so much more. Her mission is to help stylists understand hair care products from a scientific perspective, not a marketing one. So I'm excited to dive in because if I'm being honest, I have never been an ingredient kind of gal. So welcome, Anna.
Hey, how are you?
I am great. Thank you so much for taking the time today to meet with me and be on my podcast.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. Okay, so you wrote an ebook. Tell us all about it and what intrigued you to write it.
Yes. Okay. So I wrote an ebook all about translating the label, which is basically just translating when you pick up a product at the store, what does all of this stuff on the bottle even mean? Should you even care about it? All of those things. So basically, you guys, I am really into organic and natural, doing good for like my personal health, doing good for my child's health, and doing good by the planet. So, naturally, like I started buying a lot of, organic and natural products. And then I kept every once in a while, I would come across like somebody with a cosmetic chemist background, and the information they would say would really contradict my beliefs. And I know, and at first I was annoyed, but and this happened a few times, and I was just like, they just don't understand. Well, then I ended up taking a class that was all about hair color. I don't know if you've ever heard of ABCH, American Board Certified Hair Colorist.
Yes.
Okay, so I got that. And then after I got it, I found a class that kind of went along with that information. And so the point is, it's a non-branded science-based class on hair coloring.
Okay.
So I had to take it. So I was really intrigued. I'm like, I feel like I can never know enough about hair color. I don't know about you.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I take this class and here we are again. They're coming at things from a formulation side and telling you like what's inside of products. And what they're saying again goes against what
everything that you believe.
Yes. But it was interesting. And they also like kind of told me why. So that piqued my interest. And then shortly after that, I just so happened to be on vacation. My daughter and I were visiting my in-laws. They have this beautiful condo down in Florida and we were having a great time, but they go to bed early. So I got really I don't know what sparked this, but I was taking a shower and I was using the shampoo and conditioner that were in there. And I was like, you know what? I want to know what's inside of here. Is this really any better than what I have at the salon?
Right. Interesting.
Yeah. So I just started Googling the function of every single ingredient.
Wow. So do you know some of these ingredient names off the top of your head? Because I can barely even pronounce one of them.
Oh my God. Well, okay. So me trying to announce ingredient names is also pretty comical. Like,
yeah, they're so interesting.
We could probably do like a whole spoof on that and just laugh our butts off.
So funny. So you were super intrigued and you started diving in deep and searching and researching, and it turned to an ebook, which is amazing.
Yes.
So cool.
And I did, when I got home, I ended up diving into, a shampoo that I use at home and in the salon.
Right.
And I was kind of just surprised at what I found.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what did you find?
So a lot of cleansing agents like
Yeah.
sulfates.
Mhm.
There was a lot of silicones actually in the um, non-salon brand. There was a lot of silicones, and there was still the one I had at home actually did not have silicones, so that was interesting. But I later learned that using silicones in shampoo is a way to make it color safe.
Oh,
It's
did not know
actually,
that.
yeah, it's one of the most, from diving into more shampoo bottles,
Yeah.
it's one of the most popular ways that companies like to make their shampoos color safe.
So is silicone bad for our hair?
No, it's not bad for our hair. And I actually did end up finding out it's not terrible for the environment either, which
Okay.
that personally made me super happy.
Yeah.
Um, and most silicones can be easily removed by using a good clarifying shampoo, with a chelator.
Gotcha. Okay.
So,
What were some other products that or ingredients that really kind of stood out to you that we believe are to be bad versus ones that are actually not so bad?
so I don't really like to tell people that ingredients are bad or ingredients are good. I mostly just like to tell you what their function is. And if you if I tell you the function of a silicone and you still hate it afterwards, that's totally
True.
fine,
Yep.
right? That's up to
Yep.
you.
Yep.
Um, but just know like it's in your shampoo because it helps protect your color.
Okay. What about parabens?
So parabens are a preservative. And the big thing with preservatives is that they legally have to be in your products because your products would spoil too fast, go rancid. And if you use spoiled products on yourself, that can actually cause a large variety of health issues. Mild, like it could be like something mild, like a mild skin irritation, or it could be as severe
Mm.
as causing blindness.
Oh, no
Obviously,
way.
that one would be a little extreme, but
So
it's a
that's funny that
possibility.
you say that because I have had a few clients who will be like, oh no, I can't use your shampoo. I actually use 100% organic. And I was like, oh, okay, great. So what does 100% organic mean to you? And they're like, well, it's natural. It's free of everything. There's nothing in it. And I was like, oh, so how long do you get to keep the bottle for? Like, is it a 24-hour lifespan when you open it? And they're like, no. And I'm like, then how are you telling me that it is organic and 100% natural? Because there would be no lifespan if
Yeah,
it, right?
exactly, exactly. There was yeah, your lifespan would be like 3 days.
Right?
Um, and the other thing, with parabens that I found to be very interesting is that they're one of the more nature identical ingredients. So parabens are naturally occurring, um, in nature and in the foods that we eat.
Hmm.
So, they play really nice with, like, the human body. Um,
Okay.
and they've just kind of t they're obviously modified because nothing in nature that we know of is strong enough
Right.
to preserve our products, which is
Yes.
why this is still currently an issue. Because
Yes.
if something in nature was strong enough to preserve our products,
They'd be
everybody would
using it.
switch to it. Yeah.
Yeah. So when companies say stuff like this, and like I'm thinking of my extension company that I use, one of the things that they say is to make sure your client is using sulfate and paraben free shampoo. Why
So,
are companies saying this when it's needed to be
um,
in your shampoo?
I
It's
there are other options. So basically they just switch it out. So you can take out the sulfates. I've heard that there is another ingredient that a lot of formulators like to work with, but it's more expensive. So
mm,
if they're told to formulate on a budget, maybe that
ah,
nice ingredient that they like better than sulfates, they might not in the
ah,
end be able to afford to put it in there
got you. Is it
because the
doing the same thing though?
yeah, so the big
Yeah.
thing with cleansers is you wanna, like, be able to mix oil and water, right? Because we have
Yep.
oil coming off
Yep.
our scalps, and you want it to rinse everything down the drain really well. You don't want any, like, films or residues to be
Right.
left on the hair.
Yep.
And the other thing with sulfates is they play really nice with the other ingredients in the bottle, and they're just very easy for them to work with.
Okay.
So, but then there's also like a cheaper option that from what I gather, they don't like as much. But if you're a good formulator, you can leave the sulfates out, you can leave the expensive cleanser out, and you can still, at the end of the day, come up with a really nice
Good product.
shampoo. Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Like I know if like I'm sitting in a class, like a PK class or something, they'll talk about particular ingredients, but it never has like resonated with me what those ingredients actually are for or stand for.
Yep.
So this is great because this is more like I can understand this. And this is going to resonate with me way more than hearing what's in a bottle because it's not something that I do, which is why it's so nice that you love this because you can help so many people understand what is in their product, whether it be a stylist, a client, it doesn't matter who, right? Like understanding that is so important.
Right.
So this is great.
And at the end of the day, most of us, like I'm sure you want this just as much as I do, and everybody else who's listening, we just want our clients to have great results. Like when I
Yes.
color your hair, I want it to last. I want you to come in 6 weeks later and you may have roots, but your color still looks phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a big one, right?
Right.
That's a big one. Okay. So are you comfortable telling us what a few key ingredients are that we should maybe avoid?
Um, okay, so if there was something that was bad or that you should avoid, most likely wouldn't be allowed to be inside of
Okay.
products.
That's good. That's smart.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Now I know Canada and US will have different guidelines.
They do.
And why is that? Is it the shipping? Is it like what makes us have all these? Because there's so many things that like obviously one of my product lines is a Canadian product line,
Yep.
but one of my other ones is Italian. Prior to that, we had one that was made in the US. They had to plaster these stickers on our bottles so big for Health Canada to approve them to come in to the country. And I
Oh,
was like,
wow.
oh my gosh, this is just an eyesore. Like, and I'd asked the owner of the company, I'm like, why is this happening? And he said, because in the US, we don't have to have them. So the bottle looks different, but we're using the same bottle. We just have to put the sticker on. So Health Canada approves it,
Oh, that's
which
really interesting.
right? So crazy. So I do know that, yeah, I don't know why, but I find that very, very intriguing.
So I'm in the US
Yep.
and I do one of my products, I believe, is based out of Canada, but I've never seen
Oh,
anything like that looked out of the ordinary from anything else that I use. But
right.
yeah, so the regulations are different. Generally, I know when I hear them being talked about, they talk about for the US and Canada, they usually just say the North American market.
Right.
But I did know that Canada had, um, between Canada and the US, there was a few things that were different. And from everything I heard, I got the impression that Canada was just doing a really good job. Not that the US is doing a bad job.
Yeah.
But
They're just taking
that,
an extra step, I guess.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. So I know we already kind of touched on this, but some misconceptions from a marketing standpoint. We touched on obviously silicone. It's needed for color treated hair
Mhm.
and sulfates and parabens. Is there any other ingredient that you feel in your research you found that companies would market that they don't have it, but in reality, they've just found a new ingredient to put in?
So it's basically every single time you see so sulfates are a cleansing ingredient. So in shampoos, you can make shampoos without sulfates, but
Mhm.
you can't take away the cleansing ingredient or
Right.
else you
You
won't
have
have
to.
shampoo.
Exactly.
Right? Or if you see paraben free,
Mhm.
um, they're just putting in a different preservative because they legally have to.
Have to. Yeah.
And then for silicones, you can use other things, but again, they
The
can
reality is that
manipulate.
they're not bad.
Right. Yes. And they
Yeah.
can manipulate them to do exactly what they want. So it makes them really easy to work with. Also, silicones are a huge category. It's kind of like going to the grocery store and saying that you're buying food
Mm,
but I mean, how many different types of food are in the grocery store?
right.
Lots.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's
Um,
crazy.
and also like what is good for one hair type or what silicones are good for one hair type, those same silicones could be horrible for another
For
hair
somebody
type.
else. Yeah. Yeah. I say that to my clients all the time, right? I'm like, just having one product that works for me does not mean that this product is going to work for you. We have hair that is extremely different and it's finding what's right for your head.
Exactly.
Right? That's so important. I think a lot of stylists get caught up in that this is the best product out there and this is why I use it, but they're not thinking that there is a chance it's not going to work on somebody else's hair.
Correct.
Yeah, I know that's a big thing. So after you did all of your research,
Mhm.
did you feel that you needed to change products that you were using at the salon, or were you comfortable and happy to remain with what you had?
Okay. So I don't feel that I have found like the creme de la creme that meets like
Okay.
every single one of my benchmarks.
Yeah.
But I also know that like for everything I want it for products, this is going to be like a long search.
Right.
So no, I didn't stop using anything after I learned all this stuff, but I did start thinking about it differently. And if I'm interested in bringing in a new product into the salon, I now have a different criteria.
Right. So, you haven't even told our listeners, are you a suite owner or are you a commission stylist? Are you a salon owner?
Oh, that's right. I didn't mention that yet.
Yes.
Okay, so I am a rental stylist. I
Okay.
work in a small salon. We have 3 salon chairs,
Okay.
and I just rent my station.
Okay. And by being a chair renter, are you using the salon's products or are you bringing in your own products?
I bring in my own products.
Okay.
My salon owner actually doesn't do hair at all. She only
Oh.
does spray tanning.
Oh, interesting. Very cool.
Yeah, and she is fabulous. Like she's a wonderful owner. Yeah, so we all bring in our own product
Okay.
lines. We each have our own shelf
Yep.
for retail, and we're all responsible for our own stuff.
I love it.
Yeah.
Do you educate your clients when they're in your chair?
I do. However, if I know somebody is not interested in hearing on what I have to say, I might not really dive
Right.
in with them and just
Yep.
tell them make product recommendations or based on their hair type, but I
Right.
might not necessarily
Get
dive
really into it.
into. Yeah.
And I think that's a big thing too, is like taking the lead from a client, right? Like
Yes.
understanding and knowing the clients that want to dive deeper and the ones that are just very content.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Not everybody wants to know what's in their product. They just want to know that what they're using works for their hair. And at the end of the day,
Exactly.
that's the most important thing, right? I would
Yes.
never try to convince my client that what they're using is terrible for them and that they're only going to get the results they want if they're using my stuff. I would never, because like we said, everybody's hair is so different and we all know our hair the best. Nobody else knows it like we
Correct.
do.
Yeah.
So,
So I approach it like are you having any trouble with anything? And then I will troubleshoot with them and make suggestions from there. Um, and if they do want to know all about the ingredients, I dive right in.
yeah, that's awesome. So good. It's so nice to be able to have that like confidence and knowledge because I would not have that confidence to go into ingredients at all.
Yeah.
So,
So, and that was another reason why I wrote the book, Translating the Label, because um, I've seen clients come in and they'll say like all of this stuff and also see the stylist just kind of like a deer in headlights. Like they don't know how to
right.
respond because that stylist isn't really into following the what is and what isn't in their products
Yep.
trends. And the book just really like makes it simple and gives you some knowledge bombs. And then when those people do come in and they're like, well, I'm not sure because that has sulfates in it, then the stylist can kind of like, the book gives you the information that you know,
Right.
so you can like take the lead and say, well, this is what they do,
Yep.
and that's kind of,
That's amazing. I love that.
I feel like people
Okay.
just, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I
You
feel
feel
like
like people,
people just want I feel like people just want simple information.
yes, right? The simpler, the better.
And also to hear the other side of the story, because everybody right now is, I feel like when I go on social media, they're all screaming at me like, you shouldn't do this because
Mm-hmm.
these ingredients are dangerous. But nobody's really saying, like,
Why?
well, this is why they put them in there.
Yeah.
And this is why they like them, or this is why they have to be in
Yeah.
there. Nobody's telling you that.
Yeah. You are, which is
Right.
amazing. Love it. Okay. So I don't know about you, but I am hearing so much about Monet or Monat. I actually don't even know how it's properly pronounced.
I think it's
Do you?
pronounced Monet.
Monet. Okay. So I don't like it, but it's not because I've used the product. I've actually never tried it or even looked into it, but I hate the idea of it. Like they're portraying it as a professional product, but yet any random off the street can sell it without knowing anything about hair care or skincare. So do you have an opinion on that?
Uh, yes.
Is it big in the US as well?
It is
Because it's
big in the
huge.
US.
Okay.
And actually, I've known a few people that were pretty close to me that were selling it
Okay.
at one point, although I don't think any of them are selling it anymore. So I have found their marketing approach to be very interesting. It's interesting that they take consumers and they also, or consumers to buy it, and they also target hairstylists.
Right.
So, just in case somebody isn't aware, Monet is an MLM company. They're a multi-level marketing platform, or
Yep.
I'm not exactly
Yeah.
sure. Some people are
Yeah.
really into those things, and other people are not.
Yep.
Um, so from what everything I've heard, and I've looked into them a little bit, I've also used a couple of their products only because they were gifted to us,
Okay.
not because I really
Wanted
was
them.
dying
Yeah.
to try them. Um, anyway, so they work just fine. I
Yep.
personally, my personal opinion, because I always like to state when it's my personal opinion,
Yep.
I didn't think they did anything special.
Okay.
But that's my opinion. If you
Yep.
used it, you may have a totally different opinion, and that's
Yep.
okay. But um, one, okay, the one really good thing that I would like to give Monet credit for, because I think they do a fabulous job in this, is they showcase the importance of using products, especially leave-in products.
Okay.
So, um, but when you see those before and after pictures of, before Monet and after Monet,
Yep.
you can get those results with whatever
Any
line you
product.
choose to use. um, but a lot of people really, I found a lot of people underestimate the importance of using like a leave-in conditioner
Right.
and what a difference that makes on your hair. Or people will, I don't know about you, but they'll always tell me that they can never get their hair to feel as soft at home as they do in the salon. And
Right.
when I dive in and ask them further questions about that, it turns out they don't use a leave-in product at all. They just
Right.
shampoo, conditioner in the shower,
And they're done.
and they're done. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So I will say I do 100% agree with you that they know what's up when it comes to marketing, right?
very
Like
good.
very, very good. And if anything, I think it maybe will make us professional hairstylists step it up a notch because we know the value of what's in our products and what our products can do for someone's hair, but we're not marketing them the way that they are.
We are not.
Right.
Yes,
So
they
like,
definitely do a better job than a hairstylist as a whole at doing that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I find that so interesting. So I had you compare a
Yes.
Davines product to a Monet product.
Yes,
And I know for Davines, you did the Oi shampoo.
I did.
And the Monet was...
For the Monet, I did their volumizing shampoo.
Okay.
So one thing we should point out is that these shampoos are meant to do different things, but at the end of the day, they still need to be effective cleansers.
Right.
So one thing that was now I feel like the lines couldn't be more different, right? Because the vibe I got from Davines was just that they just want to make nice products.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but the clear vibe that we all get from Monet is they are really into showcasing what they don't put in their products.
Okay.
And one of the differences was in, let me scroll down here. Okay. In Davines, there was 37 ingredients.
Okay.
And in the Monet line or Monet shampoo, there was 54.
Ooh, a lot more.
Yeah, right?
Okay.
They also had a lot of fragrance put in there.
In the
Not
Monet?
not that that's a
Okay.
bad thing. I mean,
Right.
because the smell of your shampoo is part of the experience.
100%. I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
Right?
And are fragrances bad for us or no? I mean, I guess no, but
I mean, I would say no, unless you're allergic to something.
right.
But,
Yes. Okay.
That's always a different
Yep.
story. But the other thing that's interesting is when you take out ingredients, one of the things with the Davines line is like they put in sulfates, right? Because they're
Yep.
effective cleansers. But
Yep.
in Monet, they did not. And they may have to add more ingredients to get the same effect. So
okay.
that is most likely why the list is longer, but I am no chemist.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
I just like to, hear about what they're doing. And
yeah, absolutely. It's smart and it's great that you do. So funny enough, one of our stylists who is on mat leave has recently decided to join Monet.
Wow.
And I have so many feelings about it. And I've decided that whether she loves the product or not, that doesn't matter to me. Like you can use whatever you want to use at home and whatever makes you feel happy, that is okay by me.
Yes.
But what I will not have happen in my salon is her speak of it. Right? Because like I said, in my opinion, it is not a professional product line. So it shouldn't be talked about in a salon. And I know a lot of people would disagree with me on that. And yes, I know there are so many successful salon owners who use Monet in their salon, and it's actually the only line that they retail. Again, it's their choice that they're doing that, but this is my salon and I am choosing to have nothing to do with it. So that's where it's like, I was a little bit mind blown when I saw that she decided to take this on. And that's why I had asked you, like, what are the differences? And another thing too, is I find them to be very expensive. Like their products are very expensive.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard some chatter about the expense of the product and what some of the cosmetic chemists that I follow think about it.
Yeah.
And from what I gather, the general feeling from actually almost all of them was that the ingredients that are put into it aren't necessarily more expensive than the ingredients put into other shampoos.
Yep.
But that's I guess that's like Monet's business.
Yeah.
If they and then at the end of the day too, if they want to charge a lot and they're getting it, bravo.
I know. That's what I say too. I'm like, I don't have to like them, but my God, I like give them so much props on their marketing and on their sales. Like I 100% will shout that from the rooftops. Like they are doing exceptional. And I hope that other professional hair care companies take a lesson from it.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
and us too.
100%. Yeah. Okay. So let's go back to ingredients for a second.
Yep.
So we know that silicone is what makes or can make one of the ingredients to make your color, like a color safe shampoo. What would be the main difference if I wanted to use a volumizing shampoo over a color safe shampoo? And can they be the same thing?
They can definitely be the same thing. I think a good formulator will be able to make a lot of different things work.
Okay.
Or a lot of different demands work. I mean, as long as I feel like they can figure something out.
Okay. So, okay. Would you have interest in like what's next for you? Like where do you see this incredible knowledge that you have? Where do you see it going? Because I think this information needs to be out there, right? Like the more people that know this, the better it is for everyone. So what is your plan? Like what's next?
So right now, my plan is obviously to get the word out there about translating the label.
Yep.
And then I'm also working on collecting information to write another book. The reason I wrote the book in the first place was because I was asked to give a class on clean hair products. Which, just so you know, the word clean or clean beauty isn't a legally defined term. So that it can mean, it's kind of like the word natural. It can mean
so many things.
Yeah, absolutely anything. It's up to the company to decide.
Okay.
So when you do see the words clean beauty, if that's a priority to you, I strongly suggest you go onto a company's website and find out what clean beauty means to them. Make sure it matches your clean beauty beliefs.
Right. Interesting. That's great.
Yeah. But because clean beauty doesn't exist, because technically every ingredient that's allowed to be inside of cosmetics is legally considered clean.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you said, or it wouldn't be in there. So
yeah. So that's basically how translating the label came about, was because I was asked, somebody found out I knew about this stuff. They asked me to give a class, and then I turned the class into a book. So
brilliant.
I'm collecting the information to write another book and put a class out there.
Perfect.
And I am actually hoping to do 3 books in total, because there is just so much
information
that goes along with this. Yeah.
Oh, I can imagine, for sure.
Yeah. And I'm trying to like break it down and put it into like bite-size, like easy to digest chunks.
Right.
Like really simplify it.
Because then it's easier for stylists to retain it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Also,
I feel that.
You're not gonna like read them like a 3-page explanation of sulfates.
Right. Right. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay. So translating the label is available on Amazon or through her website, which is www.annastyleshair.salon, not .com, .salon. You can also find her hanging out on Instagram at Anna Styles Hair. So I want to thank you, because this was amazing. And I feel like I have learned so much. And if you're up for it, I'd love to have you back another day and we can dive into color a little bit more, because that's another one that I feel like we don't know as much as what we should.
Yes. So, and that is something that I very actively look into constantly.
Good. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. It's so interesting. Wonderful. Well, thank you again for taking the time, because I appreciate it. And I'm sure everybody else appreciates this conversation, but I look forward to chatting with you again.
Absolutely. So do I. And I also just wanted to thank you again for having me on. This was an honor.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
welcome.
Thank you so much.
I'm a huge fan of the podcast. Like,
Thank
you're just
you.
doing such a good job.
Thanks. I love it. I
Welcome.
think it's a great way to get, one, your voice out, but two, to connect with other artists, right? So
Yeah. And
that's
I
what I'm here
like
for.
your everything, like your perspective and like your ideas that you're sharing are very different from everybody else's. And I've really been appreciating it.
Thank you. I appreciate
Welcome.
that. All right. You enjoy your day and we'll talk to you soon.
You too.
Thanks.
Bye.